So in 2025, about 90% of the web apps built using no code or low code or vibe coding all failed to launch. And this is not because these platforms lack the capacity or the ability to build production level web applications. No. Hey, I am Abubakar Ishaq, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 key points that you should pay attention to if you are a developer, an engineer, or a founder to help you avoid making these mistakes in 2026. So in case you are completely new to this, when we talk about no code, we are talking about platforms that allow you to build web applications or web interfaces using drag and drop or visual programming. We call it video programming, where you can drag and drop elements on the page to design a complete web application. And right now there are a few of those platforms, right? So example, you can see a button, drag and drop a button, an image element, a text element to design a web application without needing to write a single line of code. And when we talk about low code, there are platforms that allow you to do the same thing that a no code platform allows you to do. But the only benefit here is that the low code platforms allows you to build or to integrate a custom code. So you can bring some amount of coding into the platform to extend the capacity or the ability of what can be done using that platform. And when we talk about vibe coding, a newly coined term, it's talking about using an AI agent to build web applications. So like I said, I'm going to give you 5 key points that I want you to pay very close attention to help you avoid making the mistakes that majority of the founders last year made, so that your application can be built and built right. So the first most important point here is that you need to know that a no-code developer is different from a technical engineer or software engineer. Why? Because a lot of people today are using no-coding platform or vibe coding platform just as a tool, okay? Because they hear code, as in there is no code, there is low amount of coding required, or you're just vibe coding it. So a lot of people assume I don't need to write any code, so I can build a website or I can build a web application. And that is the problem. So if you go to job markets like, let's say, Upwork.com, Fiverr, and Freelancer, you'll find thousands of people or freelancers calling themselves no-code developers or no-code engineers. And what I want you to know first of all is that a no-code developer is different from a software engineer. So what as a founder or as somebody who wants to build a web application, the first question you need to ask yourself is that what type of application are you building? Okay, example, if I am building a restaurant app, all right, a restaurant web app, or a booking, or let's say an Airbnb style or an Airbnb type of web app where people can publish or post their listings, and then for other people to go and book or reserve for a hotel room and etc. And then somebody is building a portfolio website, just a portfolio to showcase their let's say their skills or their designs, right? These are completely two different type of websites. So if you're just building a landing page or a marketing page without any authentication, verifications, permissions of really as in web app level functions, that is when you go and look for a no-code developer, because all they need to do is just drag and drop. Let's say you are building an Airbnb clone and you want to provide an additional feature that allows visitors or customers to get a 3D view of the property that they can walk in and all those things. They realize that no, this is not a feature outside of bubble or within the bubble. You have to write some code to build it. And then that is when they find out that no, this no-code developer I'm working with doesn't even know how to probably build a custom plugin or even integrate third-party APIs. Then they end up finding themselves that they have to go and look for somebody else who can. And in most cases, when that person comes, they end up having to rebuild everything completely from ground up. Why? Because a no-code developer is not a software engineer. Whilst a no-code developer think from the point of making things to look visually appealing, so they're just more like designers, okay? You know, a software engineer thinks of things from the foundation model upwards. So they are thinking about structure, authentications, the data model, the flows, as in user flow and etc. You understand? So you need to first of all answer this question as a founder to determine the type of person or the type of skill set you need to work with to help bring your idea into life. So once again, a no-code developer is not a software engineer. And of course, the next point is people start building before understanding the business logic of whatever they are building. I understand. In most cases, clients will reach out to you all excited and happy that, hey, Abubakar, I have this great and amazing idea I'm working on, and I want to build a web application. It has to do A, B, C, D. It's going to be revolutionary. It's going to change the world. It's going to do, 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 do. They are so excited to build it. And then when can we start? How much do you want to charge? Okay, I want to charge you $50 per hour. Good, let's do it. And then tell me what you want. Okay, the user can sign up using their email address and name. The dashboard should have this, should have that, should have that. When you have that great idea that you want to build using, let's say, a no-code or vibe coding or a low-code platform like Bubble, the second most important thing I want you to do, aside the fact that we'll talk about first point, you need to understand that a no-code and a software engineer are different people, and you need to let the idea or the type of app you're going to build decide who you should work with. The next most important thing you need to do is you need to relax and conceptualize whatever idea you want to have. And when we talk about conceptualizing ideas, in my next videos or in one of my subsequent videos, I'm going to give you a blueprint that has been working for me for the last 10 years of how to conceptualize ideas to even determine whether this is something that the market wants, this is something that the customers will use, and how to build these web apps whilst having customers. We will talk about that in one of the videos. But yeah, the most important thing right now is that when you have the idea, don't rush into building it, conceptualize it, write it down, get the milestones, find a technical engineer to work with or a technical partner to work with to help you put all these pieces together. So yeah, that is the that is the second most important point. And of course, the third most important point is that bad data architecture kills apps quietly. This is what separates amateurs with professionals. So you see, it sends us back to the first point, which is a no-code developer is not a software engineer, because a software engineer thinks about the backend logic, the database structure, the app module, the user flow, and all those things. So what happens in most cases is that you end up seeing that the no-code developer who doesn't think from this tangent or who doesn't think about things like this, they build. Oh my God, I can remember. I have seen the worst type of applications in my life. They build the worst type of databases. You can see the application from the front end really looks great, all right? But then when they launch the application, they realize that it is not optimized. It cannot be maintained. It can't be maintained. An app that is not even bringing revenue is costing a lot of money than you can imagine. And then this application ends up costing you $50 to $100 per user per month, whilst you are charging $20 per user per month. And that is one of the main problems of having applications that are not properly structured. So this is one of the main reasons. And if you are building a web application, even if you are working with a software engineer, as a founder, you need to make sure that you are on your engineers that, hey, I want to have the cleanest, scalable, secure, and most optimized data structure. Think about data reads, data writes, and data modifications. Every one of these functions costs a resource. So you need to query or you need to discuss with your engineers that what are you doing about our database? How is our database looking? Okay, the data type we have, or this is the kind of data architecture we're going to be working with. Why? Because of this and this and this and this. Okay, now we have let's say you have a user, you have an admin, you have a manager, you have this and this and this and that, right? And then your engineer needs to give you a proper architecture. So a full-on plan on the kind of data types you're going to have or tables that you're going to have, how each relates to each other, how you are performing data searches, that is the reads, how you are putting things, that is the writes, how you are modifying things. All those things are things that a software engineer is going to take good care of. These are some of the reasons why you need to work with a professional software engineer, even though you want to build your application using a Vibe coding platform or using a no-code or low-coding platform. And let me clarify this. When we say software engineer, in most cases, it doesn't really mean that this is somebody who doesn't understand no-code or this is somebody who only write code. No, 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 no. We have a lot of software engineers like myself who understand or who are even actually specialized in no-code. Me personally, I'm specialized in no-code, but I'm a software engineer. I'm able to build plugins, build serverless functions, and integrate with those no-code platforms. And I'm able to build amazing web applications. So yeah, this is our third and most important point, which is a lot of the apps that are built using no-code platforms, they are poorly optimized in terms of database, and that is where you realize that even when those apps are launched, they become too expensive to manage, and they end up having to pull out from the market and just completely shut down. And then you find founders complaining that the platforms are too expensive and etc. But the main or real problem is actually the person that built the application for you is not an engineer who understands how data works. And then the fourth most important point here is that a lot of no-code developers, they treat UI UX like a fancy decoration. Meanwhile, a UX is supposed to be treated like a strategy, like a user flow, like a journey. And the difference between successful web apps and the unsuccessful web apps in most cases is due to very poor UX. If it's going to take your user up to 5 clicks before they can sign up or create an account, I will tell you that your application is poorly optimized. When you're working with an engineer, if you don't have a dedicated designer on your team who understands UX, and if you don't have a dedicated engineer who understands how to bring that UX into life without confusing users, then you have a big problem. So, as a founder, what you need to also prioritize is that make sure that your UX is very simple and straightforward. Today, we can say WhatsApp is a very successful mobile application. A lot of people use it. Do you know that if somebody is able to take WhatsApp and build the same type of app, but make it a step easier, people will use it? Yes. We had a lot of applications that were saving the same thing. Skype was there, almost the same thing. Video, audio call, and texting. Skype was there. And then WhatsApp came. But because WhatsApp has gone a step further in making things easy to use, they are winning. Where is Skype now? You get it. So when you are building your web application, one of the main reasons why a lot of businesses or a lot of those startups failed last year is because they missed this important point. And I want you to have this at the back of your mind when you are putting things together before you start building your web application this year. And the last point here is that no code, low code, and vibe coding platforms are often marketed as easy, quick to build and deploy platforms. In fact, when Bubble started, they marketed themselves as the best platform to prototype your idea before they now changed it into the best platform to build a production ready web applications. You see the thing? So it's like that narrative is already sticking in people's mind that okay, no code is just there to help you prototype or test your ideas to build quickly and so on. Trust me, I'm telling you today, there are platforms being built on no code and vibe coding platforms that are Amazon level complex. I'm telling you, even I have worked on many. I have worked on many platforms which are even more complex than platforms like, let's say, Airbnb or even Facebook on Bubble.io. And they are successfully operating. So you see, it defeats the whole idea that those platforms are just there to help you test ideas. No. I am sitting before you today and I'm telling you that you can actually build very complex web applications using those platforms and they can be successful if you do it right. I'm telling you that it's possible to build a production ready application on Bubble. You can make it modular. I have applications that I have built that with my clients we agreed that this is the most important part of our application. Since we can't take our code from Bubble, let's build a UI on Bubble since it's very quick to build UI on Bubble. Then let's build the logic in the database outside of Bubble. Then we join the two together using APIs so that later When we decide to go away from the bubble completely, we can just go and build a UI and then link things up without the need to rebuild everything from the ground up. This is how to go with it. And then see, you can actually even build the whole application on those platforms without the need to even go outside. Bubble is doing amazing, is doing great. You see, but then when you work with this 5 point, what you find out is that if your application would have cost you $50,000 to build without knowing these 5 points or without considering these 5 points, it will now cost you almost 5 times less when you consider this 5 point, because right now you know what you want, you have the right person, you're just going to speed through and build everything up. So this is it. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Share this with somebody, and see you in our next video.